My name is Boba Fett.
We know who you are.
In 1995, a famous football pundit once said, "You can't win anything with kids," after Manchester United's young team lost against Aston Villa. But that comment came back to haunt him when Manchester United went on to win both the Premiership and FA Cup that same season. Will that be the case for the Book of Boba Fett, now the series has premiered its own youthful squad of misfits in episode 3? Here's hoping, given the new odds the former bounty hunter is set to face as his past and present finally collide in the streets of Mos Espa. But despite new young blood, this chapter functions as a somewhat superficial setup of narrative elements for the rest of the season at the expense of meaningful character development. Boba's increasing benevolence may well be signposting his downfall. On the plus side, he manages to acquire a group of angst-ridden youths to beef up his muscle power against the incoming Pike Syndicate. Adding to the long list of brunette women in the Star Wars universe, Sophie Thatcher of Yellow Jackets fame plays the leader of an Alita Battle Angel meets Akira-like bike gang who've upgraded their bodies with droid parts and are wreaking havoc on the locals with their thieving. These juvenile delinquents give off the whole "we're just misunderstood man" vibe and could give the outsiders a run for their money. A few scenes show just what they're capable of. A chase sequence through Mos Espa on their Teletubbies moped-esque speeders adds a punch of flair to the burnt landscape, with a cyberpunk theme tune to boot, but it looks a bit budget compared to the high-octane exhilaration of the train stunt in the previous episode. Earlier, the youths help Boba survive a sneak attack by Chrysanthemum while he's indisposed in his Bacta tank, but it's a far less satisfying fight than the Cantina takedown he administered against the Swoop Gang. One has to wonder how a massive Wookiee managed to get past their defences, but Fennec Shan's late-stage arrival hints that she may not be as loyal to her saviour as once thought. It would certainly explain her frustrating lack of screen time, save for that opening fight scene and a few snarky comments here and there. But in an episode that spends so much time signalling future alliances, Boba befriending a Rancor and setting Chrysanthemum free, and potential treachery, the action and storyline feels pretty disjointed. And with all these new characters thrown into the mix, it never takes the time to let the viewer get to know the motivations of anyone but our eponymous anti-hero. Of course, it's his name on the title card, but even in The Mandalorian with supporting characters like Cobb Vanth and Frog Lady, there was a real sense of who they are and what they stood for. So far, there's none of that in the Book of Boba Fett, save for our titular lead who continues to be haunted by his childhood, reminders of his clone heritage every time he comes across a stormtrooper helmet stuck on a pike, and seemingly his need to atone for his bounty hunter sins after being given a second chance at life. But the way in which his anti-hero's journey is being told feels somewhat pedestrian, and given the legend of this character, he arguably deserves better than what he's getting, as do the Star Wars characters he associates with. The decision to decimate the Tusken tribe Boba had been made an honorary member of is both an obvious and lazy one. Barely any time is dedicated to their deaths, but I guess they served their purpose to bring the bounty hunter back from the brink and show his heroic side. Now their murders simply add pathos to his journey and push his plot forward while their names are lost in the ether. Without Temuera Morrison, the Book of Boba Fett might have completely faltered by this point. He brings warmth and depth without pretentiousness to a character that could have easily followed the outlawish, arrogant route. Even when the plot feels a bit paint by numbers as it has in this chapter, Morrison keeps you rooted to your seat. Fingers crossed he'll have audiences on the edge of them next week. For more on the Book of Boba Fett, why not check out our review of episode 2, or our episode of Cannon Fodder where we delve deep into how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit.